What's up, guys? So the video you're about to watch is actually one that I produced for the restaurant a couple of weeks ago. And it's a video where I sat down and talked about the history of the restaurant, where the ideas came from, what we were trying to accomplish. It talked a little bit more about myself and my partners, which are my mother, my brother-in-law, my sister. And we talked about where we all came from, our history with the restaurant industry, and just kind of where and how we found ourselves here. This is actually a video that I plan on redoing a little bit further down the line. I want to sit down and do it a little bit more in depth and talk about my personal history. But if I had done that for the restaurant's Facebook and Instagram, it would have been really, really long. And so I kept that one a little bit shorter. But I figured I'd upload this one here in case all of you guys were interested. And just let me know what you think.
Hi there, my name is Fernandes and I'm one of the owners here at Labaredas. This past weekend, we actually just completed 1 year of being the new owners here at Labaredas. So I wanted to take the time to talk a little bit about our story, how we got here, just so you guys can get to know us a little bit better. But the story of Labaredas didn't begin with us. The truth is, this restaurant has actually existed in this location with this name for about 15 years. There have been many, many owners, but it has always been a mainstay of the Brazilian community here in Marlboro. It has always been a steakhouse and has always focused on high quality meats. And so when I and my family decided to take over about a year ago, we wanted to basically keep all of the best aspects of the restaurant, maintain the heritage, continue to be a part of the community, and focus on really high quality meat. But we also implemented a whole host of changes. We completely renovated the entirety of the inside of the restaurant. As some of you who follow us may already have seen, we added this bar here that I'm currently sitting at. We redid the floors. We basically, our entire goal with the restaurant was to kind of bring it into the 21st century. We wanted to create a modern restaurant that happens to serve really good Brazilian food. We wanted to have a really beautiful atmosphere. We wanted to have it all look very contemporary, and we just wanted it to feel very cozy and just a fun place to hang out. And so one of the first things that we knew we wanted to do was add a bar. I'm a self-confessed cocktail and spirit nerd. I love bartending and it's one of my genuine passions in life. And one of the biggest aspects of what we wanted to implement to Labaredas was to add this entire cocktail bar aspect to our restaurant. I have always been very interested in creating cocktails that are inspired or include South American and Brazilian ingredients in a way that was more in line with a modern cocktail take on everything. And I guess this would be a good point as any to talk about what it is that led us here. So for me, I have been a bartender for many, many years, and I was also a bar manager. But several years ago, I was working at this amazing restaurant called Bourbon's Kitchen and Cocktails in Framingham. And it's there that I really got started on my cocktail making journey. I was a bartender prior to that, but it was in a corporate restaurant that just didn't really care too much about quality. So working at Bourbon's, I got to work with some fantastic bartenders, and I got to learn from some of the best people that I could have possibly asked for. Not just in terms of making cocktails, how to measure, use the proper tools, recipes. I also got a whole lesson on what it was like to work in an environment that cared so much about quality. I was with them from just before they opened their doors for about 2 years. And it was a startup business, essentially. It was a brand new restaurant that started from the ground up, and I got to see all the different levels of what that meant. And getting to work in a place that was so focused on small plates, shareables, high quality cocktails, it really showed me that that's where the restaurant industry was going. And I kept thinking to myself, what if we could do something like this for our community? What if we could create a version of this and strive to do something similar, of course not copying, but something similar for the Brazilian American community here in Metro West, and actually the community more at large, and to show that just because it's a Brazilian ingredient or a Brazilian recipe, it matters here in Metro West. There are so many people who come from Brazil who live in this area and who have impacted and shaped this community, not just in the insular Brazilian American community, but the whole community at large. So the idea was to always create a restaurant that really exemplified that and showcased the best parts of our culture. And so I brought the idea up to my mother, and we had talked about for a long time opening up a business of some sort together. And my mother and father actually used to own a Brazilian restaurant down in Fort Pierce, Florida. So it was not my mother's first foray into the restaurant world, and she was also actually a trained butcher. Her and my father used to have a butchery in Brazil, so it just was a natural fit to take over a Brazilian steakhouse restaurant with my mother's skill set and combining it with my own. We had always talked about that, and we started to put our plans in place and started to look for a really a good fit for what it was that we were trying to do. And so then at that moment, I ended up accepting a job as a bar manager to learn the ins and outs of what it actually meant to run a bar, what it was like to build a cocktail menu, all of those interesting business aspects of the profession. And shortly thereafter, the opportunity to take over Labaredas came about. And myself and my mother, we then sat down with my sister and my brother-in-law, Mariana and João, and the four of us decided that it would be a really good idea to take this on. Both my sister and my brother-in-law have restaurant experience. My sister was also a bartender for many years, and my brother-in-law worked in the kitchens of multiple restaurants. So we thought that the four of us together could really take this challenge on and meet it head on. And so, the last year has been very, very difficult, especially with the whole pandemic, but it's been also super gratifying. And working with family, some people say, can be difficult at times, and sure, that could be the case, but I wouldn't have wanted to do it in any other way. It means so much more to me that we're doing this as a family and being able to really highlight our community. Because for us as Brazilian Americans, or all four of us are Brazilian immigrants, and we've been here for over 20 years, and we are a part of a much larger community of people here in Massachusetts that are from Brazil. And we always felt like there was something lacking in the dining atmosphere in Metro West for Brazilian Americans. A lot of the restaurants that we found just either didn't have the right quality, the right kind of service, the environment was lacking, the ambiance just wasn't right. So we had an idea exactly of what it was that we wanted to do. We don't want to be a good Brazilian restaurant. We want to be an excellent restaurant that serves Brazilian food. And that means fantastic service, beautiful ambiance, a attention to detail, kick-ass cocktails, and a delicious food menu. And that's what we've been working on. And while the last year has been incredibly challenging, I have multiple more gray hairs than I ever thought I would at this age. It has been so rewarding. It has been fantastic to be able to work with my family to create something that we can all really feel proud of. And despite the troubles with the pandemic and with all of the other things that have happened over the last year, I am so excited for the next several years of our restaurant and to see where we can really take this. And so honestly, this video was meant to just mark the beginning of the next step to our restaurant. We were only able to renovate the restaurant back in March, and then we had to close down 3 days later due to the pandemic, and we've only really been open again to the public to sit here and enjoy our cocktails and our food since about June. So while things have not been amazing and have been a little difficult, I really just wanted to record this video to commemorate the actual start to our project, because we have so many more things coming your way, and we are so excited to have you be a part of that. So thank you to everybody who has supported us over the last year, especially over the last couple of months. It has genuinely meant the world to me personally. There have been some long sleepless nights due to this pandemic, and knowing that there are people who are out there supporting us really made a whole world of difference to me and to my family, and we really want to thank you. So thank you to everybody who has helped us and supported us over the last year, and we really can't wait for you to see where we take this next.